Hello, my friend. This is Dr. Jeffrey Beto, and I'm coming to you from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. This is the companion video for my monograph on the Abundance Project called Your Weight Matters. This video is supposed to be somewhat of like a fireside chat where I just, in a relaxed way, discuss some of the highlights in the monograph that goes into much more detail on the Abundance Project. As you're probably aware, there is a worldwide epidemic of obesity, and there is no variable that correlates with health better than body weight. People who are overweight, and they don't have to be obese, they can be muscularly overweight, have a much more rocky physical road, and people who are underweight, of course, the same. As your body gains weight, all the systems that support your body tissues have a greater and greater strain put upon them. And this collective strain can shorten your life substantially. Now, obesity is a relatively recent phenomenon. When I was in elementary school, we had one obese kid who used to be teased incessantly. And the rest of us, the most you would see would be somebody chunky. I was kind of chunky, but I wasn't morbidly obese. Most people were at their ideal body weight, I would say. And in addition, all the teachers and the other support personnel in the elementary school were at their ideal body weight too. That is very rare to see an obese person. And yet today, obesity is hit almost the 50% mark among young people. So what's happened? Certainly this isn't a genetic mutation. And I see the studies and read many of the studies regarding obesity and a genetic gene for obesity. Good luck trying to find it, because you don't get genetic changes in one generation. That's an environmental phenomenon. And it's better explained through epidemiology, or the study of the environment and how it affects our health, than it is to try to be explained by genetics. I'm not saying that there is not some genetic interplay. There's always a genetic interplay. And that ongoing discussion, nature versus nurture, will never end, because it is a combination of nature and nurture, which results in abundant physical health. But when it comes to obesity, I want you to focus on that there's something that people are doing wrong in their environment that's making them obese. This is not a genetic phenomenon. This dramatic change in body weight, I think, has a couple of sources. One is that the eating habits of people have changed. We no longer grow our own food, and we no longer buy directly from the farmer. We buy food from large supermarkets, and we try to buy the cheapest thing we can. And the cheaper food is generally manufactured by large conglomerate farms who are not accountable to the consumer for the way in which they grow the food, or they raise the cattle, or they raise the chickens. And so the actual food stuff itself is not as healthy as it used to be. And also, we eat more than we used to a decade or two or three ago. The portion sizes have gone up substantially. And the combination of these two things, it's an entire social phenomenon, has resulted in obesity. Mega farming is, I think, one of the worst things that has happened to our food industry. Mega farming uses toxic pesticides and herbicides, glyphosate being one of them, and these substances are not only acutely toxic if taken in large quantities, but they're chronically toxic and have profound metabolic effects on your food. And so I'm recommending that everyone who wants to be healthy and gradually move to their ideal body weight, that they cook their own food and that they go organic, that they buy food that is very carefully grown, a minimum of chemicals used, and you'll find that food a little bit more expensive, but maybe you'll buy less and eat less, because portion size is the other issue that people have. And in so doing, gradually move to what we're going to talk about next, which is ideal body weight. Now, ideal body weight was a concept that was derived by looking at large numbers of people and seeing what their survival rate was over time. Of course, ideal body weight does not take into account genetics. It doesn't take into account accidents. It doesn't take into account other illnesses that can be contracted that have absolutely nothing to do with your own body health. It's just being exposed to certain bacteria and fungi and viruses. So ideal body weight cannot be used as a prophetic mechanism to tell you that you're going to live longer. I had an interesting experience a number of years ago when I went on a diet, and I was doing it conjointly with a trainer. And this particular trainer, after I had lost about 40 pounds of weight, the trainer, he congratulated me on a good job well done, and told me that I had probably put about 16 years of life on my lifespan. And I looked at him and I said, how can you say that to people? You can't say that to people. Ideal body weight is not a prophetic mechanism. It does, however, make sense, right? I mean, the less tissue there is for your heart to circulate blood, for your immune system to have to survey and heal, the less hormones that have to circulate through tissue, all of these things reduce the overall stress and of metabolism on your body, and the subsequent effect that obesity has, which is stressing every system. Every single system is overstressed when you're obese. And so it makes sense. Ideal body weight is not the holy grail, but it is something that we aim for, that we strive for. If you use the calculation website and link that I've put in my monograph, you'll find that if you calculate your own ideal body weight, it's quite lean. I'm 5'9", and my ideal body weight is somewhere around 150 pounds. Now, I haven't weighed 150 pounds probably since junior high school. So I'm well over my ideal body weight according to calculation. But of course, I'm a weightlifter, and I have a body mass index that's higher than one would expect given my height. Even though I'm quite healthy at 60 years of age and I weightlift 2 or 3 times a week, I am still overweight. I am overweight. All right, so I need to trim down. Leanness, which is what gets calculated with ideal body weight, is the preferred body type, not thickness, not overmuscularity, and certainly not morbid obesity. In order to attain your ideal body weight, it's not complicated. It may be difficult, but it's not complicated. You need to restrict your calorie intake. You need to restrict the time period in which you take in those calories, and you need to increase your activity level. Now, restricting calorie intake, there are so many diets out there. There are people making millions of dollars selling their particular meal replacement, etc., that there is no one perfect way to do it. But I have a very simple way for you, and that would be this. I want you to begin to prepare your own food. Yes, you're not going to buy meals anymore. You're going to prepare your own food, which means I guess you're going to have to invest in some Tupperware if you don't have it already. And you're going to prepare your meal the way you always do. If you eat lunch at work, you're going to prepare your lunch meal the way you always would. And then you're going to divide that in half, put half of that into a Tupperware bowl, and take the other half in another Tupperware bowl to work with you. I want you to prepare your own foods because I want you to go organic. You have to pull yourself out of this mega farm food supply that we have because of the multiple toxins that are in those foods. And you're going to have to either buy the food directly from the farmer if you live in an area that you can do that, or you're going to have to go to one of those natural type grocery stores where you can purchase organically grown items. But anyways, you're going to divide your meal in half. Now, what that means is you'll only have to cook every other day. That's good. All right? And you will be decreasing your caloric intake by 50%. So the first thing you're going to do is decrease your caloric intake by 50% by preparing your own food, okay, and bringing it with you to work. The second thing I want you to do is I want you to consume all your calories that you're going to eat for a given day. The rest of the day, you're not going to be consuming calories. I want you to consume all your calories in a 12-hour time period. The studies have shown that people who eat everything in a 12-hour time period and literally fast the other 12 hours. And when I say fast, you can drink an unlimited quantity of water or any other beverage that has no calories. Those people gain less weight than people who eat smaller meals continuously over the entire day. And even though those two groups would consume the same amount of calories, the group that consumes their calories confined to a 12-hour time period gain less weight than those who consume it over more than a 12-hour time period. It seems that 12-hour fast every day has a magical effect on reducing the actual caloric absorption of the food that you've taken in. And so that's a simple thing to do. If you simply, a 12-hour fast every day is just a little bit longer than your sleep cycle. And so that should be easy to do. And finally, of course, you're going to have to increase your activity level. Now, look, if you have a sedentary job, the human body was meant for motion. It was meant for activity. And years ago, everybody had a physical job of one sort or another. Today, there's all these desk jobs. If you work at a computer like I do all day, you're going to have to supplement your activity level somehow. And so you're going to have to either walk every day 30 minutes. It's very simple to do. It doesn't require you to join a gym, or actually join a gym and go and have an exercise routine 2 or 3 times a week. You have to make this a must. This is just as if you have high blood pressure and you're taking your medicine. You sure wouldn't want to skip your medicine and have a stroke, would you? No, of course not. So you don't want to skip your exercise routine. This has to become essential. All right? And those 3 items that I've just mentioned to you will result in a gradual reduction in your weight to the point at which you'll be approaching your ideal body weight. It is quite marvelous, quite simple to do, and quite inexpensive if you follow those simple guidelines. So that's my review of the monograph. Now, if you want to get more details on what I've just said, you can go to the Abundance Project and look at the monograph and click the links that I've put in there for you with the ideal body weight calculator, and you actually calculate your own ideal body weight, etc. Furthermore, if you have questions or comments, please contact me. You can contact me through the Abundance Project, leave me an email, and I'll get back to you within 24 hours. Thank you so much for viewing this video. Thank you for spending this time with me today. I hope you found what I've told you interesting and helpful. And you know that my goal is for you to live a physically healthy and abundant life. This is Dr. Jeffrey Bedo from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Have a beautiful day.